Hello and welcome to day 42 in this quest for a 2000 rating on chess.com. So let's find an opponent and begin here. All right, so we have the black pieces. We're playing against a 1672. So let's see how it goes here. What will they play first? All right. Okay. And the game auto aborts. All right, well, I guess we'll go look for a new game here. All right, so we have white this time. So let's begin with e4. And they play the Sicilian. So knight to f3. Knight to c6. So we have a fight for this d4 square. We'll go ahead and attack. See what they do here. And I believe this is the Rossolimo variation. Okay. So now, they're attacking here. And trying to decide what to do. Should I just play d3 and then just wait and see what kind of move they make? Let's see here. Let's see. Should I attack that knight? That's a possibility as well. If I do that, they may just go here. Then both of them will be piling up on that e5 pawn, and I guess I could pick this one off. All right, well, I don't know if I want to do that. So let's just develop. Well, maybe I'll just go here, see what they decide to do. That should at least make them have to think a little bit here. So I haven't played too many Sicilian defense openings. So I don't know. I think I'm going to have to just set aside an hour a day to just brush up on these openings in this new opening repertoire. Okay, so now we could just go ahead and castle here. I think I'll do that. All right, so now the options are, do we just push forward here? Trying to take control of the center. Do we play c5 and try and set up a kind of a Maroczy bind? All right, we'll just go ahead and do that and see what they decide to do with it. All right, so now we can jump our knight up there. Trying to decide, no, we'll go ahead and do that. Now, I'm wondering if I were to push forward here, go after this. I mean, I guess I could maybe even push this bishop up here. But at this point, he could just chase it away. So I don't know if I want to put the bishop here on e3 and try and come up here and target his bishop and trade it off. I may have to play this h3 move to keep his knight from attacking the bishop. And I kind of have to decide, what I would do if his knight jumps into this hole here. I'm still wondering if I want to push that e-pawn up. And now if I... Okay, well, I could think about capturing this. Maybe I'll wait and see if I... Because, why give up the bishop pair if I don't have to? All right, so now he's made room for the development of his bishop. So maybe we go here, prevent him from pinning our knight, and then now we could possibly jump up here. All right. So we have to probably develop this bishop here to e3. Maybe we can bring our queen up here. Bring our queen up here to d2. Try and create a battery and maybe attack his bishop on g7. Because if we could trade it off, it would leave weaknesses around his king. Okay, so he plays this, maybe with the intention of pushing forward here. So, now, do we capture? Normally in the Sicilian, if you capture the knight, it pulls his pawn in towards the center, and then he'll have more strength in the center here. All right. So, I don't know. I'm tempted to get rid of this bishop, because this is right now it's a bad bishop, although he could push forward here and we would start trading off material. All right. Well, and we may want to do something about this bishop firing down through the center here. A possible attack on our rook. Let's see. Okay, maybe we just go ahead and, well, I'm trying to decide if I want to give up this bishop for that knight, because that knight could lodge itself in here, and then if we have to capture, he recaptures, chasing our knight. All right, I'm going to just go ahead and do that. Get rid of that knight. Then we'll push forward here. Then we can jump our queen up. All right, now we could possibly jump our rook up to here. But I don't know, he could start breaking through in the center. That could be a mess. So we probably need to go here. Make sure we look out for any tactics. All right, so would his queen think about jumping into here? Or here even? If his queen lines up here, All right, so that's interesting. I guess now he can develop his bishop. All right, now do I want to just go here? Now his bishop's kind of blocked in. We can't go here yet because if he captures, we capture. We have to protect this. So let's try that move. And that gets us off of the diagonal here. All right, well, now I say we should try and get rid of that. So we trade off the bishops. And he should probably just ignore us. You know, what does he do? Develop his rook here to e8 or move his queen somewhere. Okay, well that's interesting. I'll go with that because now if he takes with the knight, what is that knight going to do? I mean, I guess the knight, if the knight recaptures, it could jump in, recaptures on g7, then the knight could maybe jump to here, to h5, and then try and jump over here. Okay, so the king jumps into there. All right, so now what do we do? We have to, the center's kind of locked, so we have to fight on the wings. So we either have to try and push this pawn up. Let's say we go here and we jump our knight to the edge of the board. Does that do anything? Not really. So it looks like we could just attack his bishop, I guess. See what he does about that. So if we attack his bishop, that might give us time to push our f-pawn forward. So let's jump up there, attack his bishop, and just see what he does. All right. Well, where is this guy going? Not too many places. All right. We'll go there. And and so now the question is, do we want to capture here? Capture his e5 pawn. If we do, and he recaptures, it breaks his pawns apart. But we have this weak backward pawn here, which we'll have to figure out how to protect. Okay. Well, now what do we decide here? Do we just capture? Do we knock out his bishop? Because otherwise this knight is just going to retreat, and then what is it going to do? If we capture, okay, so let's figure out what we need to do here. If we capture, it pulls his knight forward, and then the knight could possibly jump into here. Okay. So, well, our knight is under attack, so we have to do something. I mean, I guess we could just knock that out. Then what if we go here? If we push forward there, attack, he could just close things up. All right. I don't know if I want that knight jumping in there. All right. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and do it. And now we could go ahead and just push forward here and attack. Or should we capture? If we capture, it could open this position up, or he captures with the F pawn, and it could threaten to trade off material here. All right. I don't know. That knight is going to be dangerous if it jumps into the position there. So let us All right. Do we just capture? No. I'm going to say we just fortify or drop back with our knight. That way, if his knight comes forward, if he captures the pawn, we capture. He captures, we capture with the rook. And then we'll just see what happens from there. All right. So what can his other pieces do? If his knight jumps into here, or here, we'll just capture it. What else is possible? He could capture with the pawn. We would just have to capture with our knight. Then he could jump in here. We could jump back and attack him, he could decide to avoid trading that knight, but okay, so he just jumps in there. All right, well, we'll just go ahead and attack. That kind of closes things up there, but it does give him some more space in the center. So which way should he attack here? If he attacks this way, or captures with his e-pawn, he'll probably just capture towards the center like this. At least that closes this. Okay, so he captures towards the center. So now I guess we could just push forward here, gain space on the other side. Oh, well, we have to watch out for this. If he captures, well, then we'll just recapture. Or do we? If we capture, it fixes his double. It'll undouble his pawns. Let's see. All right, if we push forward, he could just push forward as well. But, if we do that, we'll have a rook up there. All right, I'm going to gain space. I'll go after some space here. He's going to either push, then if he does that, well, I guess he could ignore us. Because then if we capture and he recaptures, then he could have an opening over here. Although my pawn is pushed up to h3, so that would limit the scope of his pieces. Okay, so he does do that. All right. Well, do we stop him? Then he could pile up over here and try to start pushing forward. Right now we could ignore, no, our queen. I was thinking my queen was on e2 and it could cover this, so do we just push forward here? All right, well, if we want to keep the space, or do we just ignore that? Maybe we push over here instead. Or do I run my queen up here? No, his queen's covering that, so that won't work. All right, well, let's gain more space on the queen side now. And maybe we can double some rooks up here and try and get something going. Double our rooks and start pushing through over here. Okay. Well, now he's decided to do that. So Can I afford to ignore him? Probably not. I probably have to capture. Then he recaptures. All right, so we end up with a pawn majority over here. All right, but he might have a passed pawn in the center, which I don't know if I like that. All right. Do we capture there? Ooh, I don't know. This is looking crazy. Can we afford to ignore him? Probably not. So let's capture towards the center. He'll probably recapture. Okay, now we should take the center here. Well, take the center. Take the open file with our rook. Or if he captures, he might try and push forward. All right, let's go after the open file here. I don't know about this. He has that strong pawn center. We do have these passed pawns here, so we probably need to get them moving. And probably push this A pawn up. Push our B pawn forward. That's our advantage, and we need to find a way to use that advantage. All right, so we pretty much have to capture here. If he pushes forward, well then, what could he threaten here? He could just try and trade off. All right. Well, we need to be careful here. He probably won't, well, he could try and push this pawn. If he does that, well, then we could just go here, and attack it with the rook. What can he do? He could try and go after this pawn. Oh, then he has a possible check. That could be serious. He has a possible check. If he pushes that pawn forward, he could jump down in here, check us. That could be pretty tough. So, yeah, if he pushes this pawn, then he has a threat of moving his queen forward with check and going after this. We would have to move our queen here, which could let him push this down again. But, all right. So he's doing that. Let's see. Do we go ahead, push forward here? All right, or do we move this king And if we do that, where is best? All right, I guess I'm going to go to the side here, so I don't have to worry about that. All right, so now I probably need to push this pawn up. Yeah, I think I need to push this pawn. He could just push his A pawn up. Then, all right, so he decides to do that. Going after this weak pawn here. So now, do we back up to here? That is the question. Do we just back up? Oh, or why don't we just, move forward and protect that? Because he can't capture with his queen. All right, and we're running out of time here. So we'll just go there. Protect that, kind of block that pawn. All right, so now he's going with that. Do we just protect here? All right, I guess we'll just do that. Just wait and see what he does. At least that protects their pawn. And now, do we need to start bringing our king up here? Start moving our king towards the center and have the king help protect this pawn. All right. And trying to figure out if I need to push this pawn, the G pawn, up to G4, to stop any surprises of this pawn pushing forward. But I don't think I have to worry about that right now. So, what will he try and do here? And do I need to move my rooks up? Maybe, well, can't do anything about that now. I mean, I guess I could move this rook up to here, threaten to double. He'll probably just capture. Okay, so he's already threatening to do that. All right. Well, he's going to threaten to double up. So, do I just push forward here? I just keep pushing my pawns? That's the question. We'll just go ahead and do that. Just push forward. I don't know. He could have captured here, and then we would have to capture, and then he could have picked that off. All right. Well, we don't want him having doubled pawns there, so I guess we should get rid of that. And then what do we do? Do we jump up here? Something like this. That way, if his rook comes down, we capture. He captures, we get that pawn, he gets this. But we could maybe come up and try and harass his king. All right. Do I just start pushing forward here? All right, now what? Now what? I don't know. He'd probably just capture. Then I'll have to capture. Once again, I'm so low on time. So if he captures, I capture. It's going to be a problem with this passed pawn. I mean, can I harass his king? If he captures, I go here, and he goes down here with his queen. Okay. Well, now what do I do? Just go there. All right. So now, what can we do? What can we do? I have to be able to go after his... his king. All right. Well, I can't do that. I don't know. I'm probably lost here. Yeah, now he's just gonna attack there. Check, then check me there. Great. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to end up losing. All he's going to do is just check me here, and then the queens are just going to go crazy. All right, what can I do there? Just block, and then he comes down and mates me. All right, well, it looks like a loss. All right, let's do a game review. Yeah, because now if I just, attack his queen, he just comes down here and it would be a mate. So I don't know. I'll have to see what I could have done better. It all came down to that passed pawn. Man, they played 90.4% accuracy. So I had a blunder, a miss, and a blunder here. Alright, allowing mating tactics in the endgame feels bad, but it happens to all of us, and it's a great learning moment. So it looks like the game was even until right at the end. So what did I do wrong at the end? I guess we'll find out. So it looks like there was a way to hold a draw at the end, and I guess I messed it up. Alright, so it's really blasting through these moves. This is crazy. It's not even stopping until the end, really. Alright, so it liked this move. So what could I have done differently here? Alright, well, that was the blunder right there. So what would have been best? To go here and then be able to check. So they would have promoted. I could have checked them. If they go up here, well, we'll take a look at that. So anyway, I misplayed that ending, and not good, not good. I needed to go for a check there at the end. So I played at 1850 level. They played at 2050. So I don't know. They just didn't make any mistakes, did they? They had one mistake, so maybe we'll see what that is. Well, I guess I can click on this and check that mistake out. Bringing the rook over here was a mistake. The game was close to equal, but now white has the advantage. So I had an advantage here, but I don't know. I'm not seeing what the advantage is. I guess I could show the moves. I should have pushed there. Okay, I don't know. That was kind of tricky. Let's go back and look at that again. So it says I should push there, attacking their knight. And they should take. Then we should take over here, attacking their rook. They move the rook. We move our queen to protect here. Then their queen moves to protect this pawn, and knight to e4, attacking their knight. Alright, anyway, so it looks like I had an advantage there and just did not do anything with it. Okay, let's look at the analysis here and figure out what we could have done better. All right, not lose. I guess that's one thing we could have done better. All right, e4, c5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and so we play this bishop to b5, the Rossolimo, which we probably didn't finish up, or follow up, I should say, with the best moves. So here, it looks like knight to c3 is good. Capturing the knight is also good, or chasing this knight with e5. So we played none of that. We played d3 and gave the advantage to black. All right, well, I'll definitely have to work on playing something better there. All right, so they play an inaccuracy here, which queen to a5 check would have been better. Then we would be forced to what? Block with our knight and protect our bishop. So anyway, we castle. They develop their bishop, fianchettoing and aiming down through the center. So now we go ahead and create this Maroczy bind, I guess, which is when you have the C pawn and the E pawn here, and it locks down this D5 square. And a lot of times in the Sicilian, black is always trying to push this D pawn up to D5 to open up the center, give himself more room. And the game equalizes a little more when black is able to play d5 in the Sicilian. All right, so here they castle. We develop the knight, but it looks like pushing the pawn and chasing their knight may have been preferred by the computer. I don't know if I like that, though. If we push that, what do? Go here, and then they have a bishop and two knights attacking, and we only have one defender. So what would we do next? I don't know. I guess we could take a look at that move. Well, now it's not even mentioning that move here. So if we do that, it looks like, well, what if they play this? And then, we would capture this knight. And then we would have time to bring maybe the rook in and protect. So if we captured that, they capture towards the center. Then we play rook to e1. The pawn is covered. And we can chase their knight into the corner, maybe. So they would immediately try and attack this pawn with one of their pawns. All right, so back to what happened in the game. We played knight to c3. They played d6. Here, instead of this pawn move, it looks like we should have captured this knight. So they play e6 here. And let's see, e6. Computer says that's an inaccuracy, and now white has the advantage. Knight down here to d4 would have been better. So that's kind of what I was wondering, if they were going to play that knight to d4 move. So here I finally go ahead and capture that knight, which the computer likes. They capture towards the center. Now they have this strong central pawn formation. So we develop our bishop. And it looks like better would have been to push this pawn forward. So let's see here. e5 is best. Is that the one we took a look at? Let's check it out. e5. So what would they do now? Looks like they could just capture. Says that's the best move. Then we capture. And we're threatening this pawn, so they go queen to c7, attacking our knight, which is unprotected. And we just retreat back to f3. And now either knight to d7. That says that's the best move, to retreat this knight back, and then it lets the bishop have more scope down through the center. And then where would that knight go? Maybe the knight would go from d7 back to the center here and attack this knight, trying to get rid of one of the defenders around the king. Another option is rook to b8, putting the rook on the half-open file. All right, so in the game, after bishop to e3, we have rook to b8. Excuse me. And once again, it wants this e5 move. The computer likes that. So here, it does not like this move, saying that's a miss, that e5 would have been better. But we tried to create a battery here, to get rid of this defensive bishop around the king. Although even though we did that, we never had a chance to go up there and use that. If we, in the end game, if I would have brought my queen up where I could have checked, I may have been able to hold a draw, it looks like. All right, so e5, they push forward. Now we retreat. Well, it's saying we should have retreated our knight. Bishop to e6, and it doesn't like that. It says that best would have been knight to h5, which I guess that allows you to push this f pawn forward, or even knight to e8. Maybe I would like knight to e8 a little better. Because here, I mean, I guess you could chase that knight back, but then you kind of create weaknesses by pushing this g-pawn here, maybe. All right, so in the game, let's see, it's saying, I don't know, it says knight to h5 is a little bit better. And now, knight to e2 is best, to help lock down this f4 square. So knight to e2. Then the reason they moved this knight out of the way is to push their f pawn, so they would go ahead and do that, and then they could threaten to trap our bishop. So it recommends moving here and attacking their queen. So it looks like that is best. Then once the queen moves, now it recommends just ignoring this. But I would be afraid that the bishop could be trapped here. All right, anyway, it recommends b4 now. So let's get back to the game. Rook at a to b1. Bishop to e6. Bishop to h6 here. All right, so now we're trying to trade off their defensive bishop. So they move up there, we capture, their king captures, and it says it would have been better to capture with that knight. So we jump forward, attacking their bishop. Then we push this pawn, or f pawn. They attack, we capture, and it doesn't like that. So it says I should have retreated. So I guess we could take a look at that. If I retreat, now it's saying bishop to d7 would be best, and then we would capture here. All right, so we moved Let's see what happened in the game. After f6, we capture, they capture. Then we move here, although it recommends an immediate push of that pawn. They jump down here, lets us capture. Now it doesn't like this move. It's saying we should have ignored that and played. Well, now it's saying b3. It says b3 is the best move. Earlier it was saying to just push up to b4, but it likes that move better. All right, maybe you lock this down and then you can try and focus on the king side where his king is. So now it recommends queen to e7. And what? Now it's saying b4. So anyway, let's see what happened in the game. We went to f5. They pushed forward. It's saying that should have been ignored and they should have pushed in the center. We played b4 here and they pushed in the center. So we capture. It looks like it would have been better to capture this way. They capture. And now it says it's best to just capture here. Which that makes sense. That would keep them from having this passed pawn, which ended up giving me trouble in the game. So, yeah, now they have this passed pawn, and I could have avoided that. All right, so we blocked their passed pawn, but now they're threatening to come down here. What should we do? What should we do? It's saying we should have just immediately pushed that pawn forward. And now it says we should capture. All right. Capture, capture. It says we should have just moved here first with the other pawn. And they create the battery, and so now we're just in trouble here. All right. What is best? A4 is the best move. Well, now it's saying we should have immediately pushed with b6. All right, so they do that. Queen to d1 is best, so we found that move. And it doesn't like that. It says that's an inaccuracy. Now the game is even. Rook to c1 attacking our queen would have been better. All right. So here, rook captures is best. So we did that. They capture. And now, queen to h5. Jumping over here. Queen to h5 or queen to b1. So we played queen to b1. They start pushing this pawn. We should have immediately pushed the b pawn, but the game is still a draw, or, well, even. Now it's saying b6. Is that the only move? Yeah, b6 is the only move that holds the game here. So now by them doing this, we have to play queen to b4. So what was their best move? You know, maybe to capture the pawn, then we recapture, then they push their g pawn. Anyway, they go here, and it looks like we blundered. We needed to go queen to b4. It's the only move that works, because then we can threaten to check. So Here, what do they do? Well, promote the pawn, of course. And now queen to e7 is the only move that works. Now, what if they go to h6? Oh, we just capture? Okay. Well, if they go to g8, what do we do? Queen to e8. So we start checking. So, if they go to g8, we go to e8. They have to go back to g7. We go back to e7. So what if they go that way? We could go here to f8, and that still works. f8. So we could capture this pawn and check them. So if we capture that, they go to h5. Then what do? f7. We don't want to, looks like we do not want to go here. We can go to g4. And then, so if we go to g4, they capture, we capture, their king captures. And then queen to d6. Queen to d6. All right, well, let's see. If they go here, I don't know, there's also this. They don't want to go forward or it would be a mate with g3. So they would have to back up. We could check them again. If they go here, we also have this, which I mentioned. So if they go forward, there would be a mate over here. So the queen would have to capture. We capture with check. They capture. Oh, and now, see, even here it's dangerous. It says that queen to d6 is the only move that keeps things even. So, man, yeah, that would be hard to find in the game. Maybe we could see why. So, what if they just start checking? Queen to c2. So queen to c2, king to g1. Oh, and if they tried to bring their king forward, well, they could bring their king forward this way. What if they tried that? Then there's queen to a3 check. So if we go back, anyway, tricky stuff there at the end. I guess I just, overlooked the chance to just go up here and start checking his king. And it cost me the game. All right, well, thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to leave comments, suggestions, any requests if there is something you would like to see in future videos. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.